Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway, Wilkes County, North Carolina, for the opening race of the Ultimate Dirt Track Products Vintage Cup Series. Qualifications getting out onto the Speedway now. We have a really strong field of drivers. Blake Cisneros currently quickest. You see him there in the number 24. In at a quick time of 18.80 seconds. Qualifications and then heads-up racing coming at you tonight. 150 laps going to be the distance here in the NRN 150. The Ultimate Dirt Track Products Vintage Cup Series also presented by Bell Racing Helmets, and that's going to be the top prize for these drivers at the conclusion of the 5-week series. The Bell RS7C LTWT, I believe it is. Basically, the newest, latest, and greatest helmet from Bell Helmets with an MSRP of $1,700 is going to go out for the first prize in the series. And how about this one for a payout tonight? $250 to the race winner, $150 for second, $100 for third, $50, $25. So the top five are all getting paid. And yep, there it is. The RS7C Lightweight, having Jonathan Lewis from Ultimate Dirt Track Products check in with that one for us. So all in all, a fantastic payout. Doing a little bit of both real world and virtual racing here on the National Racing Network. You got to see us last night from Lanco's Clyde Martin Memorial Speedway. We'll be back out there next Saturday night. And then coming up Sunday of this week, round number 2 of the Ultimate Dirt Track Products Vintage Cup Series. Next up will be the Old Dominion 150 presented by Bell Helmets from Martinsville Speedway. So a couple of short tracks to kick things off. Also on the schedule, the Ultimate Dirt Track Products Southern 100 from Darlington Raceway. Then we'll have the Bell Helmets Volunteer 150 from Bristol Motor Speedway. And we'll close it out Independence Day weekend from Daytona International Speedway, the Firecracker 200, presented by Ultimate Dirt Track Products. Show you qualifying mode here. Looks like just about everybody has turned their laps. Blake Cisneros still quickest. Colin Bowden, you saw him there in the 25, the very cool Tim Richmond throwback colors. He'll be on your timing and scoring monitors as the number 7, but you'll see him on the racetrack as the 25. Colin Bowden second quick. He is in at an 18.87 second lap. 19.07 for the number 70 of Aaron Smith. You saw him there on the screen. The 11 of Brandon Hughes, currently fourth quick. 19.09 seconds on the speed charts for the driver, the number 11. Trey Kirk, going to round out your top 5, 19.13 seconds. Top 2 are within 7/100ths of a second of each other. Aaron Smith in third is a quarter of a second back, but in these cars here at North Wilkesboro, it really almost does not matter. Qualifications have finished up. Let's get you the starting grid for tonight's NRN 150 here at North Wilkesboro. On the pole in the DuPont Automotive Finishes, number 24, that is Blake Cisneros, pole time of 18.796 seconds. Starting on the outside of the front row in the number 25, Folgers T.G. Shepard Chevrolet Monte Carlo, that's Colin Bowden. Row number 2 will have the 70 of Aaron Smith, and to his outside, once he gets out here onto the racetrack anyway, will be the number 11 of Brandon Hughes. Row 3, there's Brandon popping up in the number 11. Row number 3 will be the number 66 Miller American Chevrolet Monte Carlo of Brandon Albritton. And to his outside, or excuse me, that's Trey Kirk in the 66. I'm reading my numbers backwards here. Trey Kirk in the 66 Miller American Buick inside of row number 3. To his outside, the 16 of Brandon Albritton in the Bees Barbecue, number 16 Ford Thunderbird. Inside of row number 4, the number 46 Simworks Performance Chevrolet of BJ Antonio. And to his outside, the number 13 Chicken Bone Alley Podcast Chevrolet of David Rogers. Row number 5 will have the number 9 Wrangler Chevrolet of Kevin Lewis. And to his outside, the Texaco Haviland Ford Thunderbird, number 12, piloted by Mike Carlson. Row number 6, the 07 machine, I believe that is the American Airlines colors of Nicolos Stiles. And his outside, the National Racing Network Bell Helmets Ultimate Dirt Track Products, number 6 of Jonathan Lewis. Row number 7, in the number 10, it's going to be the 181 on your screen. That's painted on the car. The Mellow Yellow Chevrolet, driven by Jesse Hoke. And starting in the 14th position will be the number 15 of Jeff Carlson. Row number 8, the 17 Tide Ride Chevrolet Monte Carlo belonging to Colin Keister. The race director obviously is not running tonight. And starting on the outside of that 8th row will be the number 22 Anthrax Ford Thunderbird, piloted by Alex Kolinix. Field getting ready to go green here. Lights are off on the iRacing Ford Mustang pace car. Cisneros and Bowden going to lead the field to the green. Hughes and Smith in row 2. Kirk Albritton in row 3. Row 4, Antonio and Rogers. Lewis and Carlson. Row 5, pace car is in. Green flags in the air. We are racing at North Wilkesboro. Good start for Blake Cisneros. He's going to be your race leader into turn 1. Colin Bowden going to hold on to second. Side by side, almost 3 wide, a little bit back in the pack. Trey Kirk up the middle. He makes contact with the 11 of Brandon Hughes. Almost going around, snaps it sideways outside of turn 4. That's the 66 of Trey Kirk. He'll back it up. Live admins here. We're going to stay green. Race leader's already working down the back straightaway and into turns 3 and 4. Still Blake Cisneros. He's up by 1/3 of a second over Colin Bowden. 3rd place, Aaron Smith, right there with him as well. Call it a half second. Back between Bowden and Smith, BJ Antonio 4th, Kevin Lewis rounds out your top 5. Dip a little bit further back in the field. We'll pick up Mike Carlson in the number 12. That's the Texaco Haviland machine down to the inside, trying to get around the 13 of David Rogers off of turn 4. No dice that time. North Wilkesboro, really, really unique in that the track runs downhill down the front straightaway and uphill up the back straightaway. And it's a fairly significant grade to the point that the cars can get very, very loose off of turn 4. Right about there, where you go from the banking and then the shift where the car pitches to go downhill down the front straightaway. This is the tightest battle on the racetrack. Seeing the 22 of Alex Kolinix move inside the 12 of Carlson off of turn 4. Oh, contact. The 12 goes around. Kolinix goes around in turn 1 as well. Caution flag is out. Yellow, yellow, yellow. First caution flag of the race comes out here on lap number 6. Let's get you the instant replay here. Alex Kolinix having trouble. Looked like, I believe that was Jesse Hogue that had a little bit of an issue ahead of him. And the 12 just snaps loose. Kolinix caught up as an innocent bystander in that one. We'll get back to live racing action here and pick things up at the front of the field. Blake Cisneros, the race leader. 150 laps the distance on this one. Cars should have about 75 laps worth of fuel, so there will be a minimum of 1 fuel stop. Drivers are also limited to a total of 4 sets of Goodyear Racing bias ply tires, a term we haven't heard in the racing world, at least on the NASCAR side of things, in decades. Teams are only going to have 3 opportunities to change tires on pit road, so pit strategy will be really, really important in this one. A 4-tire stop with 2 cans of Unical 76 racing fuel is going to cost you about 25 seconds. Theoretically, any time around the halfway point, that pit window is going to open for fuel. Drivers could elect to just try to make it on 1 stop for tires. The fall off is pretty heavy though, and you're really going to have to manage your tires. It is very easy to cook the tires here on these 1987 Chevrolet Monte Carlos and Ford Thunderbirds. We talked about the 66 of Trey Kirk being a Buick. That was very common back in the 80s, into the mid 80s especially, where it was a Buick engine under the hood. The sheet metal may have been a little bit different, but at the time, the only required parts that were still stock on a NASCAR stock car was the hood, the roof, and the rear deck lid. Everything else was custom built by the race teams. And at the time, a lot of those 3 mandated body panels matched fairly closely. So that's why you'll see it's actually fairly easy. You could actually turn one of these Ford Thunderbirds, you could get looking with a good paint job pretty close to a Pontiac Grand Prix that they ran at the time. The Pontiacs and the Fords had the rounded noses on them. The Buicks, the Oldsmobiles, and the Chevrolets, all the GM products, were that kind of squared off Monte Carlo look. Field's gotten the 1-to-go signal. We're going to go back to green this time by Cisneros and Bowden on row 1. Pace car is in. Again, a great start for Cisneros. Here comes Bowden to the outside. New race leader. Oh, trouble back in the field. That's going to be the 17 of Colin Keister going around. They're going to wad him up in turn 1. There's Keister in the 171. Several cars having issues. Let's get you the instant replay. See what happened to Colin Keister on the restart. Looked like the 11 might have bottled it up just a little bit. Keister tried to send it in there, overcooked it going into the corner. Big hit for Trey Kirk. Alex Kolinix takes a big shot in the rear end from the 181. Let's go on board here with Jesse Hogue. You can see Hogue got it slowed way down, but just not enough time to get stopped before he got up underneath the back end of the 22 of Alex Kolinix. So we'll go back to live coverage here. Colin Bowden, your new race leader at the front of the field. Blake Cisneros got a good start there, but Bowden was just a little bit faster. And the outside lane at North Wilkesboro really is the preferred line in turns 1 and 2. Quickest way around the racetrack is actually going to be right about that line that Bowden is running right now, just on to the right side of that dashed white line. That's the quick way through 1 and 2. The quick way through 3 and 4, because you're coming uphill, the car bites a little bit easier into the corner. And these guys will get all the way down. There's actually a concrete curb on the inside. And they will get right in tight on that curb through 3 and 4. So far, everybody that has come into the pits has been involved in an incident. We'll take a look here. There's Brandon Hughes. He's going to come in for his stop. Cars do have one quick reset. So we'll see the 11 hit his pit stall. Looks like no tire changes at this point. Only going to be a damage repair on the number 11. Not sure if he used his quick repair already earlier in the race. Colin Keister's also been in. Jesse Hoke has been in as well. Hoke now showing as several laps down. Field's gotten the 1 to go signal. We're going to go green this next time by. Got to say a big thank you to our National Racing Network partners, Hyper Racing, the Slide Up Podcast, and Hot Shoe Racewear. Thank you all for your support. We'll tell you a little bit more about those as the evening wears on here. 16 laps in the books. Colin Bowden and Blake Cisneros going to make up the front row. Pace car is in. Green flag back in the air. We're racing again. Bowden got a great jump into turn 1. Cisneros going to slide in to the second position. We'll look a little bit further back in the field. Almost a side-by-side battle back there between the 07 of Nicolos Stiles and to his outside, the 12 of Mike Carlson. A couple of Ford Thunderbirds dueling down the front straightaway here at North Wilkesboro. Oh man, big shot in the back by the 6 of Jonathan Lewis. Looks like Dave Rogers goes around. He's going to be able to keep that car moving. We've got a battle for the race lead. Bowden still holds the lead into 1. He's going to run it all the way down to the inside. Cisneros kind of diamonds the corner off just a little bit as we are working lap number 20. Pretty cool. You can see the brakes already glowing on these race cars. BJ Antonio up to the 3rd position in the number 46 SimWorks PC machine, and he is catching Blake Cisneros. Cisneros going to look to the inside of 3 and 4. Bowden fights back on the outside. Great race for the race lead. Bowden had it at the strike that time. Oh, they made contact. Cisneros gets up into Bowden. Bowden goes around in turn 1. Field's going to work to come past him. Still no caution flag yet. Oh, there it comes. Colin Bowden goes around in turn 1. Take a look at this one from the rear chase camera. Looks like the 24 of Blake Cisneros. He held a clean line. Bowden just seemed to get hooked around just a little bit. Trouble there for the number 25 Folgers coffee machine of Colin Bowden. He's going to head back to the 13th position. So Blake Cisneros is going to be back to being the race leader again. $250 on the line for the race winner in this one. $150 for second, $100 for third, $50 for fourth, $25 going to the 5th place finisher. Seeing Jesse Hoke getting a wave around. Hoke several laps down, 6 in fact. Colin Keister on the pit lane now. Take a look at that 17 machine. Right side tires going up, or excuse me, right side going up in the air. Two Goodyear Racing Eagles on the right. Going to do two more on the left-hand side. Two cans Unical 76 Racing Fuel. With all the cautions, we may not be that far off from some of these drivers trying to make it the distance. It will definitely be interesting to see. The only other car that's stopped right now and is on the lead lap is the number 11 of Brandon Hughes. Okay, seeing that the car of Jonathan Lewis is actually Nathan Lewis, so Nate doing the driving duties on the number 6 tonight. End of line penalty issued to the number 24 of Blake Cisneros. That car deemed to be the cause of the caution. So he goes back to the rear, and we have a new race leader. BJ Antonio Aaron Smith going to line up to his outside as we get ready to go back to green. Pace car is in, green flags in the air. We're racing again. Going to be a good battle back here for fourth. 3 wide, middle of turns 1 and 2. 5 cars battling from fourth on back. Trey Kirk has the 66 up to fourth. Brandon Albritton in the 16 down to the inside of Alex Kolonix. That 24 machine of Albritton now runs fifth. Kolonix getting right up in on the back bumper of the 16 of Albritton. 30 laps in the books, 120 still to go here at North Wilkesboro. Going to be a side-by-side battle a little bit further back there. Nicholas Stiles in the 07, Colin Bowden right up on his back bumper. Bowden comes around the 11 of Brandon Hughes, Colin Keister getting around the 11 as well. And here comes Blake Cisneros as well. Keep your eyes on that 17 tied ride of Colin Keister. He's made 2 pit stops already. Only driver in the field with a World Cup license. Colin Keister, one of the best there is in the iRacing business. Side by side and 3 wide off the corner. Oh, big wiggle there out of the 12. That's going to force Bowden down to the inside. Man, they're going to be 3 wide coming off the corner as well. Good duel here between Colin Bowden and Mike Carlson. Carlson to the outside, Bowden to the inside. Keister and Cisneros kind of being held up here just a little bit. Oh, trouble. 12 goes around right in front of Keister. Caution flag out on the speedway. Blake Cisneros goes around. Mike Carlson involved in that one as well. Also the 13 of David Rogers. Several cars involved. Nate Lewis involved in that one as well. Let's take a look at the replay here, see what happened to the 12 of Mike Carlson. Looks like he may have gotten some help from the 24. Colin Keister made pretty heavy contact. Oh man, several big hits down the back straightaway. Let's go on board here with the number 13 of David Rogers. See the trouble up ahead of him. Oh, he got absolutely drilled from behind. So we'll pick up the live look here. Cars now in the pit area include the 24 of Blake Cisneros, the 11 of Brandon Hughes, Mike Carlson already on his way out, the 13 of David Rogers on his way back out onto the racetrack as well. So we're going to have a couple of cars that will be now running one lap down. There's the 12 of Mike Carlson. So BJ Antonio in the number 46 SimWorks Performance Chevrolet Monte Carlo going to be your race leader. We'll show you the pit strategy here. Not much change there except for Colin Keister, who's running in the 9th position. He's made 2 stops. Everybody else has not stopped. Big mover on the race so far, Alex Kolinix running in the 5th position. He's up 12 spots since the drop of the green flag. Hearing from our race director, the 3 strikes rule is in effect. And right now, the 24 of Blake Cisneros is sitting on 2. That rule is exactly as it sounds. Cause 3 incidents, and it is an automatic disqualification. So field's getting ready to go back to green. Antonio and Smith on row 1. Lewis and Kirk in row 2. Kolinix and Al Britton in row 3. Great restart for BJ Antonio. He's going to be your race leader into 1. Aaron Smith and Kevin Lewis going to battle side by side off the corner for 2nd. Smith runs a little bit high in 3 and 4. That's going to let Lewis down to the inside. They'll drag race off the corner. Big acceleration by Smith. They're going to stay side by side all the way around the North Wilkesboro Speedway. $40 down, 110 to go. Now Lewis able to get the spot, and he's going to have the preferred line going into 1 and 2. A little bit interesting kind of difference in driving styles here. You can see Kevin Lewis really trying not to abuse his tires. He's off the throttle early, on the brakes, not crazy heavy, but enough to slow the car down. Aaron Smith to the outside, really pushing that number 70 machine to its limit. Trey Kirk running right behind him in that number 66 Miller American Buick. And when these cars came out earlier this week, one of the comments I heard made by a driver was that brakes in these cars are more of a suggestion. And that's about the most accurate way that I can describe that. Seeing Caleb Hall checking in the comments. Thank you for joining us tonight, bud. We appreciate you spending Sunday night with us. How about this one? Colin Keister. He's come all the way back. He's now battling Aaron Smith for 3rd. Colin Bowden battling Trey Kirk. Bowden now up to the 5th position. Keister going to slide back inside of the number 9 of Kevin Lewis. We said to keep an eye on him. The driver, that's 17. Like we said, one of the best there is in the iRacing business. And he picks up the spot. He is going to set sail and look for BJ Antonio as we approach the 1/3 mark here in the NRN 150. Let's run you through the field. Your race leader, the number 46 of BJ Antonio with the SimWorks Performance Chevrolet. Colin Keister runs 2nd, and he's catching up quickly to Antonio. Back in the 3rd position, the number 9 Wrangler Chevrolet of Kevin Lewis. Oh, we're going to head back to the front of the field here. We'll get you the field recap in just a minute, as Keister goes way inside of Antonio for the race lead off at 2. Antonio able to fight back on the outside. One of the neat things about North Wilkesboro, you can really keep the momentum wound up. There you have it. New race leader Colin Keister down the front straightaway. Oh, Antonio almost got up into the outside wall off of turn number 2, as they're going to put lap number 50 on the board this time. Big wiggle there out of the 46 of BJ Antonio. Running third is that Wrangler Chevrolet of Kevin Lewis. Fourth to the 25 Folgers Coffee Machine of Colin Bowden. Side-by-side battle now back for 5th. That's Trey Kirk in the 66 Miller American Buick on the inside. To the outside, the 70 of Aaron Smith. His tires may be going away on that one, because now coming up to his inside is going to be the 22 of Alex Kolinix in the Anthrax Heavy Metal Ford Thunderbird. Side-by-side battle behind Kolinix and Smith as well, between Blake Cisneros and Mike Carlson in the 12. The 11 of Brandon Hughes is right there as well. Sounds like somebody making contact with the outside wall, heading into turns 3 and 4. Just taking a quick look here at the front. There is Colin Keister. The gap now 1.5 seconds over BJ Antonio. Back in the field, there's the battle between Cisneros and Smith. Blake Cisneros able to pick up the 7th position from Aaron Smith off of turn 4. That's going to open the door for Brandon Hughes to get to the inside. That'll give you an idea of what the fresh tires are going to mean here as they get into the run. I would anticipate the next caution you will see all of your race leaders on pit road. Oh, trouble for the 11 of Hughes. He loops it off the corner, comes to a stop, gets it looped around cleanly. Looks like we're going to stay green. Yes, we do. Race leader Colin Keister only coming off at turn number 4. He'll catch up to that stricken 11 machine of Hughes, but still a fair bit of a gap there between those cars. We'll call it 14 3/4 seconds. Here's the battle for second. BJ Antonio has it. Colin Bowden wants it. Maybe a little bit of the same issue we saw there. BJ Antonio may have the tires going away on that 46 machine. We're going to have a good battle a little bit further back here as well. Blake Cisneros right up on the back bumper of Kevin Lewis. Cisneros going to have to be a little bit cautious at least here. 2 strikes early in this event. He's going to have to run it clean the rest of the way. Nice pass there on Lewis. Lewis falling back into the clutches of Alex Kolinix. That's probably the biggest thing that's pushing Colin Keister forward at this point. He has tires last stopped on lap 24. Everybody else has not stopped, so 24 lap fresher rubber on that car. Blake Cisneros in the 24. You see him there. The DuPont Automotive finishes Chevrolet. He stopped on lap 34. Able to push his way through the field. Oh man, big wiggle for the 66 of Trey Kirk. Nice job able to save that car. Only 2 cars running 1 lap down. That's Jeff Carlson and Jesse Hoke. Both continue on the racetrack. Carlson 1 lap down. Hoke running 6 laps down. Bowden got around B.J. Antonio. Antonio really fighting that 46 machine now. Cisneros right up on his back bumper. With all the caution laps, I would imagine we're in the window now where these cars could stop under green for the one fuel stop that's going to be needed. Antonio slides high in 3 and 4. That car definitely developing a big push. Let's go on board here with B.J. Antonio on the visor cam. See how he's fighting that machine. You can see it pushing a lot of wheel input into that number 46. Heavy on the brakes, tires squealing. There's Cisneros to the inside. Give position position 3 to Blake Cisneros. Antonio going to fight back on the inside, not able to get close enough to the bumper to loosen up the 24. And he's going to be under attack now from Trey Kirk. Alex Kolinix there as well. Kirk has that final money paying position in 5th. Alex Kolinix right there as well. Oh, Antonio, big wiggle off of turn 4. B.J. Antonio struggling to keep control of that machine. First lead lap car on the pit road now, Kevin Hughes. So the pit window is open. Antonio slides to the outside. That's going to let Kirk down to the inside. Antonio slides way up to the outside wall. He's going to lose the spot to Kirk. Kolinix going to try to get there as well. Interesting strategy called by Kevin Lewis. Oh, contact between Antonio and Kolinix. Both are going to be able to keep it going. But now here comes the 12 of Mike Carlson. He's to the inside of Kolinix into 3 and 4. Colin Keister still the race leader. Colin Bowden runs 2nd. Blake Cisneros 3rd. Trey Kirk 4th. B.J. Antonio rounds out your top 5. We're watching the battle for 6th between Mike Carlson and Alex Kolinix. Carlson has fresher tires. In fact, 34 lap fresher tires. You can see these guys are really struggling with the handling on these cars now. There's your race leader, Colin Keister. Pretty banged up. Oh, caution, caution on the speedway. Trouble for Jeff Carlson in the 12. Let's get you the replay. Excuse me, that's the 15 of Jeff Carlson. Oh, he got some help from the 9 of Kevin Lewis. That car is going to come to a stop. And with other cars coming, that's going to bring out the caution flag. We'll bottle the field up behind the pace car, and you're going to see a flurry of pit stops. Here comes race leader Colin Keister down the pit road. Colin Bowden, Blake Cisneros, Trey Kirk, B.J. Antonio, Alex Kolinix, Mike Carlson, Aaron Smith, David Rogers, Brandon Hughes, all coming down the pit lane. Right side's in the air on Keister. This one's going to be for Goodyear Racing Eagles. 2 cans, unit count 76, racing fuel. Keister down and away, 21.2 seconds. Let's pick up Blake Cisneros in the 24. Finishing up his pit service, Colin Bowden going to be the 2nd car off pit road. Cisneros 3rd. Trey Kirk 4th. B.J. Antonio 5th. 6th off pit road is going to be Alex Kolinix. followed by Aaron Smith, Mike Carlson, Dave Rogers, and Brandon Hughes. We'll show you the pit stop times here. Keister in 21.2, 22.6 for Bowden, 22.1 for Cisneros, 22.4 for Antonio. Fifth, Collinix at a 22 flat, so all right about in that same ballpark. 25-second stop for Brandon Hughes in the 10th position. Now on pit road, Brandon Albritton, the only car that was one lap down that elects to pit this time. So all your race leaders are going to be good to go on fuel to the finish now. The question's going to be, will they need tires again? Because we saw over these last handful of laps, your race leaders, everybody in the field was really, really struggling with the handling of these cars as the tires went away. By far the longest green flag run we've seen in these 1987 cars as well. Lights are out on the pace car, so we're going to go back to green this next time by. Keister and Bowden going to make up row number 1. Antonio and Cisneros in row 2. Smith and Collinix in row number 3. Pace car is in. Green flag back in the air. What a start by the front row. Bowden and Keister going to lead the field into 1. Antonio all over the back bumper of the 25. Going to be almost 3. Wide off in turn number 2. Colin Keister holds on to the race lead. Bowden going to fight back to the outside. Oh, contact with Antonio. That's going to push around the 25. Yellow flag is out. Trouble for the 6, the 07, the 181 involved as well. Oh, and then they're going to pile in here at the back. Brandon Hughes, Nicholas Stiles, Brandon Albritton, Jesse Hoke in the 181 involved as well. They say that cautions breed cautions. We may have seen a little bit of that right here. Get you the replay from the 7 out the bumper of Colin Bowden. There you heard it, just the slightest bit of contact, enough to send that car around. Here's the look out the left rear suspension of the 25. I mean, he barely touched him. That is incredible how quickly that car went around. So we'll pick back up the live coverage here. Colin Keister on the front. There's the message from Race Control. Car 46 EOL. That is BJ Antonio. He's going to head to the rear for being the cause of caution. That's actually a pretty large penalty here as well, because Antonio, the last car on the lead lap, will have to restart behind all of the lap cars as we get ready to come back to green. lights go out on the pace car, so we're going to go back to green flag racing this next time by. Bubba Lewis checking in saying, man, I love that Tim Richmond Folgers throwback. That's one of the coolest things about these throwback cars is the templates got released, I want to say a week maybe before the actual cars did. And the iRacing paint community went to work for sure. Getting a lot of these cool throwback schemes ready to go. Green flag back out. We are back underway. 84 laps in. Side-by-side battle for the race lead. Blake Cisneros taking it to Colin Keister into 3. Cisneros swings just a little wide. Big wiggle out of the 17. That's going to let Cisneros stay right there. That's the trouble with running the far inside lane is the car just gets so upset. Off the corner, Keister really hard on the brakes. Cisneros not having to use as much running the outside. We're now 3 laps into side-by-side racing for the race lead. Cisneros to the outside, Keister to the inside. They'll still drag race down the back straightaway. Great duel at the front of the field. Colin Keister did take the quick repair, that time under caution. You can see that 17 ride significantly cleaner than when we saw it under caution. Oh, big chop there by Cisneros. He's going to be your race leader. Into turn 3, and he'll hold the spot off the corner. Keister all over the back bumper. Maybe got a little bit into the back of the 24. Shoves him up the racetrack. There's the bump and run. Cisneros now going to have to continue fighting back on the outside. What a great duel for the race lead. 10 laps. Just about 10 straight laps side by side for your race leaders. Keister fighting back to the inside. Cisneros keeps pushing that car hard to the outside. Keister able to get the job done off of 4. Colin Keister goes back to the race lead. Sounds like a little bit of contact back in the field. This is the closest gap amongst the lead lap cars as well. As they run under green, let's run you through the field. Colin Keister, your race leader, a 3.79 World Cup license holder. Second place, Blake Cisneros, a 4.3 A-level racer. So 2 very, very talented drivers here at the front of the field. Third place, Alex Kolinix in the Anthrax Ford Thunderbird, a B-Class 3.28 license. Aaron Smith, who runs 4th in the number 70, another A-Class license holder. Colin Bowden in the number 25, an A-Class license holder driving the Folgers coffee machine. Right behind him, that Miller American Buick of Trey Kirk, B-Class license holder driving that machine. 7th is Mike Carlson in the number 12 Texaco Haviland Ford Thunderbird. He's a B license holder as well. Another A license holder just behind him in the 46 of BJ Antonio, the SimWorks Performance entry. Right behind Antonio is that number 13 of David Rogers. A couple of cars in between them there, lap down machines. We'll slide up, pick up the battle. That's Kevin Lewis in the 9. Oh, big contact with the 07. Huge hit into the outside wall. They're going to keep them in a straight line and keep them green. Nicholas Stiles piloting that 07 American Airlines Ford Thunderbird. Those are the last cars on the lead lap. Stiles actually 1 lap down. Back in the front of the field, the gap's out to about 5 car lengths between Colin Keister and Blake Cisneros. As they're going to come around and put lap number 99 on the board. This is going to be the big challenge. Without a yellow flag, there is not a chance that you're going to come down and take tires even halfway through this last stint, in and around that lap 100 to lap 130 range. You're going to go laps down and your race will be over. So this is all going to be about who can save the car and who can pilot a junk car the best once the tires go away on these things. iRacing modeling the bias ply tire, or at least attempting to mimic the characteristics of the bias ply tires. Complete different concept in construction, where the radial tire that we see today is very, very stable compared to the old bias ply tires. The bias plies, you would hear about tires equalizing, where the outside and inside pressures were the same, and it would almost create a wobble in the tire. I don't know that iRacing has modeled that closely on these. However, the other big characteristic of the bias ply tire is that the actual shape of the tire would change with temperature and heat. So as the air pressure, as the tire gets hot, the air pressure builds up inside. The tire will actually round off just a little bit. If you get it too round, you'll lose the contact patch. You have less rubber actually gripping the road, which will make the car handle terribly. But if the tire pressures are too low, then the outer sidewalls are they can't act as the suspension piece. They're not the real rigid sidewalls that we see on the radial tires of today. The bias plies were actually built differently, where the radials, the bands go all the way across from the inside to the outside of the tire. The bias ply, you created the outside of the tire and the center tread of the tire were separate pieces that were then molded together. Working lap 106 now, Colin Keister has a lead of 3/4 of a second over the 24 of Blake Cisneros. The gap's actually holding pretty steady back here throughout the field. Alex Kolinix in the 22. He's up 14 positions since the drop of the green flag. See the 181 of Jesse Hoke getting up into the outside wall. Running in the 4th position is Aaron Smith in the number 70. We're going to have to work on a J.D. McDuffie paint scheme for that number 70 machine. Colin Bowden, you'll see him in timing and scoring as the number 7. He's running the T.G. Shepard Folgers coffee machine. Again, another great Tim Richmond throwback. Behind Bowden is Trey Kirk in the 66. Bowden has that final money-paying position. Running in the 7th position is the 12 of Mike Carlson. Carlson has gained 3 spots since the drop of the green flag. Last car on the lead lap is going to be the 13 of David Rogers in the Chicken Bone Alley podcast, number 13 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Tightest battle on the racetrack is actually going to be the one at the front of the field. It's down to 2/3 of a second between Colin Keister and Blake Cisneros. In fact, you can call it 3/4, almost 1 full second as they get into turn 1. That's really where the experience of these high A-level racers is going to pay off. Being able to really control the car as the tires go away. It seems like we're harping on it, but it is really critical to how this race is going to play out the rest of the way. Blake Cisneros still runs in the second position, closes up down the backstretch, gets the gap down to about a half second. Loses a little bit down the front stretch. It does take a lot to woe these cars up into 1 and 2 coming downhill. You can see the front brake rotors glowing on that number 17. Have the 07 of Nicholas Stiles in the pits now. Everybody on the lead lap stopping on lap number 73. First car 1 lap down, the 9 of Kevin Lewis stopped on lap 66. He stayed out and got the waiver out. Puts him 1 lap down. As we work lap number 116 of 150 here in the NRN 150 at North Wilkesboro. Take a minute to thank again our sponsors here on the National Racing Network, including the Slide Up Podcast. 3 Americans and a Kiwi, Christian Bruno, Aaron Bollinger, and Joey Amantia. Also Troy Pennington from New Zealand, talking all dirt racing Sunday night. In fact, I believe the episodes drop on that podcast. Make sure you check that one out. Those young kids really do a heck of a job on that one. Also, big thank you to Alan Grace and the team at Hot Shoe Racewear. Picked up a package from them, some new promotional materials. You will not miss us when the National Racing Network is out at a real-world racetrack, that's for sure. So a huge thank you to Hot Shoe Racewear. Also, Hyper Racing. You can find them online at hyperracing.com. The best in the micro sprint business for chassis development, construction, engines, injections, you name it. If it goes on a micro sprint, you can find it at Hyper Racing, and they're probably the ones building the best equipment you can get your hands on. So make sure you check them out online at hyperracing.com. This battle for the race lead starting to heat up. Keister got a little bit loose off of turn 4. That's going to let Cisneros catch up. Blake Cisneros right there on the inside. Big wiggle again off the corner by Colin Keister. Cisneros sends it in down to the inside. We're almost down to 25 laps to go. Rapidly approaching that mark anyway. 28 right now. Keister still has the race lead over Blake Cisneros. Alex Kolinix runs third. Looks like trouble for BJ Antonio. That car in the pits and not moving, so BJ Antonio out of this one. Also, Jeff Carlson and Nate Lewis out of the race as well. Here's Cisneros looking to the inside of Keister again. Oh man, big wiggle by the 17. Keister holds on to the race lead, and they are rapidly catching up to the 12 of Mike Carlson. Lap traffic gonna come into play as we are down to 26 laps to go. Man, that 17 is an absolute handful. They get down inside of the 12. They'll get that lap car cleared. Let's go on board here. Oh, caution on the speedway. Caution, caution. Yellow flag is out. Trouble for Dave Rogers. Let's show you what happened. That is the number 13. Oh, may have gotten a little bit of help from Brandon Hughes. Oh, and then a huge hit for the 181 of Jesse Hoke. Also, Colin Bowden making heavy contact with the outside wall. So all the race leaders on pit road. There's Blake Cisneros in the 24. Let's pick up the 17 of Colin Keister. We talked about it. Tires are going to be critical, and this is the caution they needed. All your 6 lead lap cars on pit road. Left side's on, down and away. Colin Keister off of pit road. 21.73 seconds. Blake Cisneros going to come off in second, 22.88 on the stop for Cisneros. Third out of the pits will be Alex Kolinix in the 22. Fourth off of pit road, Colin Bowden in the number 25. He looks like he may have saved his quick repair for now. That is such a huge thing to have in your back pocket. Trey Kirk in the 5th position. He also looks like he used his quick repair. On the pit lane now, Aaron Smith, Mike Carlson. Smith on his way out of the pits. So here is your race leader, Colin Keister. See the message from race control, car 11, EOL. That is Brandon Hughes. He's going to have to head to the back for his role in the caution flag. Field work in lap number 130. The 07 electing to stay out. Nicholas Stiles, he's going to get the wave around. So Stiles will now tag in at the back of the field. They get the 1-to-go signal. They're going to double up. Keister and Cisneros put on about a 15-lap battle side by side for the race lead. That one has been fantastic. Let's see what they're going to do for an encore here. Green flag back in the air. We are racing again. Keister's going to have the race lead. Here's Kolinix looking to the inside of Cisneros. Not going to be close enough that time. Cisneros going to fight back for the race lead down the back straightaway. Cisneros has to back off just a hair. He can't be the cause of caution again. He's in position for $150 right now. Oh, big wiggle out of Alex Kolinix in the 22. Nice save by that driver. But he is going to fall back to 6th. He's going to have a couple of lap cars fighting to the inside of him as well. We'll check back with the race leaders. Keister, Cisneros, and Bowden all running pretty much nose to tail. There's Aaron Smith and Trey Kirk. Kirk got up into the outside wall off of turn 2. That's going to let the 9 of Kevin Lewis. Lewis fighting to get back up towards the race lead. He is 1 lap down. Down to 16 to go, and Colin Keister, your race leader, he's got less than a car length on Blake Cisneros as they come off at turn 4. Fantastic race so far for round one of the Ultimate Dirt Track Products Vintage Cup Series, presented in part by Bell Helmets. Keister, the race leader. Cisneros is right there. I mean, he's only about a car length back. And he slip up by Keister. And Cisneros is going to have an opportunity to strike. Caution on the speedway. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Trouble for Trey Kirk in the 66. Let's take a look and see what happened to Kirk. He was on the lead lap. Oh, got it loose in turns 1 and 2. Soft contact into the outside wall. Gets it turned around and he'll continue on, but that incident does bring out the caution flag. Colin Bowden in the 7 going to head down pit road. He's got one last set of tires left. This is not the worst strategy call I've seen today. Bowden's going to commit to the pits. The lowest he's going to fall is 7th. And he will have fresher rubber by 10 laps or so. In fact, about 13 laps by the time we go back to green. His left side's up in the air. That car down and away. 23.72 seconds on the stop for Colin Bowden. Also, Alex Kolinix coming in as well. Kevin Lewis getting back on the lead lap. He was the lucky dog, so he's going to pit as well. Let's pick up the stop for Alex Kolinix in the 22. He had a quick repair left, and he used it to full advantage. Left side's in the air for Goodyear Racing Eagles, 2 cans, Unical 76 Racing Fuel. He's down and away. 23.15 seconds on the stop for Kolinix. Kevin Lewis finishing up his service. Left side's in the air. He's down and away, 23.98 seconds. Trey Kirk coming down pit road as well. So now Bowden, who stopped the first time the caution, the first lap that the pits were open, Bowden's now going to restart in the 5th position. Trey Kirk going to restart in 8th. Four tires, 2 cans of fuel. Trey Kirk down in rate, 21.72 seconds. And the field should get the 1 to go signal this time. Yep, there it is. They're going to get doubled up. Lap 143 is what they're working right now. So we are inside of 10 to go. 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish coming up in this one as well. So should be a pretty good finish to this race for sure. Green flag back out on the racetrack. We're underway. Cisneros going to go to the high side. Bowden, he's already up to 3rd, challenging side by side with Aaron Smith. It's the battle for 4th, but we're going to stay right here at the race lead. What a drive by Colin Bowden. He's up to 3rd. He's going to be challenging Blake Cisneros. No love lost there. Cisneros is the reason Bowden went around early in this one. Big wiggle out of Cisneros. He's going to fall to the inside. Colin Bowden challenging now for the race lead. Going to be 5 laps to go this time by the start-finish line. Colin Bowden is there and on the back bumper of Colin Keister. You don't want to get the end-of-line penalty for being the cause of the caution. so you can't do the dump and run, but the bump and run's absolutely going to be in play late in this one. Keister slides high. Big wiggle out of Bowden. Bowden to the inside. Drag race down the back straightaway. Keister not able to stay in the throttle as well. New race leader, Colin Bowden, 3 to go. Keister throws it back down to the inside. Oh, they're going to spin back behind him. Trouble for the 24, the 22, the 13 involved as well. Caution is out. We are going to overtime. Trouble for Blake Cisneros. Let's get you the replay. Alex Kolonix and Cisneros. Kolonix just got it a little bit heavy into 1 and 2. Let's take a look here at the replay again. Yeah, Kolonix just overcooked it a little bit. That may even have been a netcode issue because that car seemed to hop to the outside just a little bit. So we'll go back live here. Blake Cisneros on pit road. No, no reason not to stop at this point. Cisneros, I think he held on to his quick repair as well because that car looks very, very clean. Cisneros, 4 tires and fuel, 22.23 seconds on the stop. Colin Bowden, your race leader now. And we are coming to a green-white checkered finish. Bowden's going to be the race leader. Colin Keister will start on the outside of row number 1, or at least in second. The race leader does have lane choice. Aaron Smith running in the 3rd position in the number 70. There's the message from race control. 22 of Alex Kolonix getting the EOL for being the cause of caution. 4th is going to be Kevin Lewis in the number 9. And 5th is Mike Carlson in the 12. Restarting 6th is going to be Trey Kirk. Blake Cisneros in the 24 will restart 7th. Brandon Hughes in the 11 will restart 8th. And then there's Alex Kolonix. He'll restart in the 9th position. Lights are out on the pace car. We are down to 3 to go, and it's going to be overtime racing here at North Wilkesboro. Right now is when you give the video a like and a share. Let everybody know what you're watching. Pace car is going to be off the speedway. Bowden got a great restart. Cisneros flying up from the back of the field. Great restart for Colin Bowden. He's going to be your race leader. Back behind him, sounds like a little bit of contact. Everybody keeps it in a straight line. Keister going to send it heavy into turns 3 and 4. Race leader gets the white flag. Next flag's going to end it. Colin Bowden, your race leader, by a 1/3 of a second over Colin Keister. Down the back straightaway. If he's good through 3 and 4, he's going to pick up the checkered flag. Clean and green checkered flag to Colin Bowden. $250 richer, courtesy of Ultimate Dirt Track Products. Coming home in the 2nd position, the 17 of Colin Keister. 3rd to the 70 of Aaron Smith. 4th, the number 9 of Kevin Lewis, and 5th will be the 24 of Blake Cisneros. There's your top 3 on the front straightaway. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll see if we can't get in here for the interviews. So we'll be right back here. You are watching the Ultimate Dirt Track Products Vintage Cup Series right here on the National Racing Network.
Because you gotta race. Hyper Racing has technical help that will blow your mind, online or phone line. A world-class facility that manufactures perfection. Fuel injection conversions, chassis dyno, shock service, and a massive inventory for micro sprints, lightning sprints, midgets, and quarter midgets. We have what you need and will deliver your package full of adrenaline. Hyper Racing, because you gotta race.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the NRN 150 on the National Racing Network. Your top 3 on the front straightaway. Let's see if we can't pick up some interviews here with your top 3 finishers. Colin Bowden, Chris Graham in the NRN booth. You have a copy on us?
Yes, sir.
All right, man, that was a heck of a race and a brilliant strategy call. Stopping on lap 139. Were those fresher tires the reason you were able to get to the front so quick?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't have anything for Colin and Blake, and I figured if I took tires there, the worst I would come out was be 5th or 6th, and then hopefully it would go green for a while, and it did, and that's what made the difference. I just didn't have any speed for them, and that was the only chance I had to win the race.
Kind of interesting how the strategy call that played into these races in the 80s, those same things are going to come into play here in this series. Was that something you were expecting going into tonight?
I guess you could kind of say that. I mean, you know how much the tires fall off. I mean, we ran 5 or 6 laps before that, and we slowed down 4/10, so I figured it was worth a shot. I mean, I had one set left. Worst I would finish was top 5, I felt like, so it was worth the gamble.
All right, buddy. Well, congratulations on the win. Who do you got to thank?
I got to thank Colin Keister Driving School. Colin, he helps us a lot. And, yeah, we'll just keep on seeing what we can do here. Thank Jonathan Lewis for putting the series on, too. It's a lot of fun to drive these cars and have somewhere organized to run them.
All right, buddy. Congratulations. We'll move down now to second place, Colin Keister, and he's our hard charger. Colin, you gained 13 spots. Did you have an issue in qualifying, or what was the reason for the start a little bit further back in the field tonight?
Yeah, I hit the wall my both qualifying laps. I had to start from the back there, and that was interesting getting to the front, but luckily I was able to get through the mess.
Yeah, you've got a ton of experience in the iRacing sim. How would you compare these 87 Monte Carlos and Thunderbirds to the A-Class Cup cars and some of the other stuff that we run? Is there anything comparable to them?
These things, the brakes on them are, for sure, are just awful. Like other cars, we can drive in a lot deeper, but these, you got to be careful on your entry, and they don't turn as well either, but they sure are a blast to race.
All right, Bob, congratulations on the second place in the hard charger. Who do you got to thank?
It's to thank my teammate Colin Bowden. Congrats on him for the win, and thank you guys for putting on this show. I appreciate Jonathan for giving me the invite to come run this series. These just should be pretty fun. These cars are fun to run.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll pick up now third place finisher Aaron Smith. Aaron, you were kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time, it seems like. There was a whole bunch of messes going on around you. How did you finish third?
To be honest with you, I have no clue. In that first run, I wore the right front off. I was pushing through the corners real bad, and after that, I learned how to manage my tires a little bit better, and I was able to drive back up to P3.
Yeah, it was an impressive drive for sure. Is with the tire management being so important here, is that a skill that you think you'll be able to transfer to the other cars on the service, or is this car just so unique that it's really going to be only applicable here?
I'd imagine tire conservation would be useful in every car, but this one is much more important. I mean, one slide in the corner and you screw your tires up pretty badly. So, yeah, hopefully that'll transfer to the rest of this season, and do us pretty well there.
All right, bud. Very nice third-place run tonight. Who do you got to thank?
I'd like to thank y'all for broadcasting, everyone for watching, and everyone at Revolution Satellite Racing for putting this car together, and everyone for putting this show on.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much, bud. We appreciate the time. And with that, we're going to wrap up the coverage here from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Coming up this weekend, Saturday night, more side-by-side and three-wide at the Clyde. 4 divisions of micro sprint racing action from Clyde Martin Memorial Speedway. And then Sunday night, we're back here for round 2 with the Ultimate Dirt Track Products Vintage Cup Series. Next week, the Old Dominion 150 presented by Bell Helmets. Coming up from the Martinsville Speedway. More short track racing. We cannot wait. That one should be an outstanding race as well. For everybody here at the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham. It has been a pleasure to spend Sunday evening with you, and we can't wait to see you guys 1 week from today. Have a great night, everybody.
Because you gotta race. Hyper Racing has technical help that will blow your mind, online or phone line. A world-class facility that manufactures perfection. Fuel injection conversions, chassis dyno, shock service, and a massive inventory for micro sprints, lightning sprints, midgets, and quarter midgets. We have what you need and will deliver your package full of adrenaline. Hyper Racing, because you gotta race.
If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?